Well, hello there. Truth and transparency. What is up? My butt's up here. Cheers. Just a couple minutes late. Good evening. Again, hit that thumbs up. Mod bods, hello. No notification. Don't know what to tell you. It's God. Boston. Did you work today, girl? You working hard? She works hard for the money. Ooh. All right, again, giving you guys a second to get in here. It is Truth and Transparency. What's today? Tuesday? Tuesday night? 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. No, it's YouTube. Oh, boy. All right, just giving people a couple extra seconds here. Extra couple minutes to get in. I do have the 30-page motion. It's beefy. Told you guys it was beefy. Wouldn't be alive if I didn't put some chapstick on. It's so good to see you, Lana. I missed your face. Well, that's special right there. Got a whole stack of notes for you too. Tonight I'm drinking a Rolling Rock to remind me of when my parents played softball and I had to go to the fields with them and they would all be just chugging Rolling Rocks. So cheers about 25 years ago. I saw it and I was like, man, let's just get some Rolling Rock. Because this train is rolling. We got Angry Orchard, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, dokie. Let's see what I got here in this lovely mess of life. All right, a couple of house cleanings really quick. Yes, sentencing is tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. What was filed today was a 704B. It's for extraordinary relief. I'm gonna go through the motion with you guys so you guys can see what's all in it. Exhibit 4, all your girl right here. Let's see. Also, I want to give some people a background real quick in case they're kind of confused. I've been working on this case for over 6 months. Pretty hardcore for the last 3 months. I've always, to the moment that I made contact with the family, have been in contact with the family like daily. So for those of you guys that don't know and you're new to my channel, for 6 months I have been investigating this case. For the past 3 months, I've been you know, uh-oh, little man wants to hang out. More like cuddle.
Mama, come on.
You want to cuddle?
Yeah, cookies.
Huh?
Cookies and steak. ready?
Okay.
So come in and stay.
Well, you guys might have to keep yourselves company for a second. Mom always comes first. So. Come on. Come on. Come on. Mod Bods. Extra AF can go. Come on, Steph. Cheers. Mod Bods, look out. Just start kicking people. Yes, like, subscribe, join, awesome. Yeah, so I don't just have a YouTube channel. I have a nonprofit organization. It is called Fight for a Family. So everything has been completely free. Like the family doesn't pay me. In fact, we try to go above and beyond and provide for things for them when we can. So yes, the family has never paid me. No family will ever pay me. We have a website, and that is where we ask for people to become members, and that's all part of you being a member for $10 a month. And all the different people that do that, that money is used to do exactly what we just did for Sheldon Jeter Jr. So if anybody out there has it twisted, no, you don't. I've probably made over a dozen trips, at least to Aliquippa, just in a 3-month period. Before that, it was not as frequent. And I'm saying at least. So I've probably spoke to 100 people. And those people are people that maybe they wouldn't talk to law enforcement, or they wouldn't talk to other media people or something like that. So a lot of hours, a lot of resources, and flat out, people don't talk to people they don't trust. So obviously I'm going to break down the motion for everybody tonight. Again, Jeter's attorneys obviously put it together. They filed it early this afternoon, late morning. Again, I've been in constant contact with the family, and spoke to his attorneys. But before we get, before we discuss some of the motion here, I want to talk about one thing, and that is a July 2020 homicide. Literally 2 months after Pugh's homicide. His was May 2020. So July 2020, right outside of Aliquippa in Hopewell, there was a homicide where Vincent Barbuto was shot and killed at his home. Multiple gunshots. The DA in Hopewell, they arrested the brother of Vincent, Michael Barbuto. And the Beaver County-an has made it known out of the mouth of John Paul that he has covered right around 100 articles on Rachel Del Tondo, Sheldon Jeter Jr., about like 100 articles. We get to this 2020 homicide of Vincent Barbuto, and there is literally a couple of articles on this homicide. Again, in John Paul's, from the Beaver County's own words, he has done over 100 articles on the Rachel Del Tondo case, stuff that pertains to Rachel, Sheldon, stuff that pertains to stuff back in 2016. At the end of the day, out of his own mouth, 100 articles. Now, there was circumstantial evidence that the DA said, obviously they had the Beaver County and ran with an article, and it had like digital footprints of a lot of things that went on for the homicide of Vincent Barbuto. Within 1 month, there was a pre-trial preliminary hearing. A witness wouldn't testify, and so therefore the magistrate threw out the case. And again, Beaver County, the DA is the same DA, which thank God he can't run again, by the way. So Beaver, you got to win there right now. Lozier can't run again, so no matter what, you're definitely moving up. But your DA says that he's going to go get more evidence, whatever, and that they were confident that there would be an arrest. I mean, because at the end of the day, Vincent Barbuto was shot and killed, and who did this? Again, just a couple articles. Now you go to Sheldon Jeter Jr., same county, same DA. The murder is just 2 months apart. And Sheldon's arrested within, the 24-hour period of time that I've already spoke about. And then tons of articles prior to that, after that. And it's very obvious that Sheldon Jeter Jr. was basically tried through the media in this case, period. And when we get to the motion, you're going to see a lot of that. This motion is trying to prevent that, period. Again, everything that we know about the Pugh case, everything we know about the Rachel Del Tondo case comes from one source, and that source is the Beaver County-an. That's your narrative. Your narrative is coming from the Beaver County-an. And in fact, how I'm going to prove this true, even yet more so than I've already done in the past, is today KDKA as well as WTAE ran a segment speaking about this motion. They were live down at the courthouse, and KDKA said that they had obtained transcripts of the court questioning this juror. Well, KDKA did not put in a request for any transcripts. The only people that put in requests for those transcripts were Jeter's attorneys and John Paul of the Beaver Countyan. So I think it's safe to say that KDKA, if they do in fact have those transcripts, it's because of them getting them from the Beaver Countyan's John Paul. Again, that's, I guess, quote unquote, if you want to say that whole narrative of that there's only one narrative. Getting their stuff from John Paul. Who knows if they got their court notes from him as well. Now, this narrative that I speak of, there's only been one narrative, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about with this narrative. Those of you guys that have been following my channel, the reason that anybody found out about a juror and a judge and everything to do with that is the day that Jeter was found guilty. I went live, and then I posted the picture, the infamous picture that actually made it into this motion, of the juror member and the judge. This judge married this juror, and this juror was the neighbor of Rachel Del Tondo. I broke that a month ago. Now, Jeter was found guilty on June 23rd, and then the Beaver Countyan ran back-to-back articles on June 28th and June 29th. And in those articles, this is what you could find quoted. Now, when the news broke about the juror member being the neighbor of Rachel Del Tondo, it spread like, wildfire in Beaver, and everybody was screaming and saying, "Oh my God, this is a mistrial, oh my God, this is a mistrial, 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 mistrial." Until John Paul ran his article on June 28th and June 29th, stating this: official court transcripts obtained by the beavercountyan.com detail a decision by Jeter's team to decline an opportunity to question the woman before agreeing to have her seated as a juror in his trial. The woman had openly told the courts she may be related to Jeter by marriage in response to questions posed by the judge and prosecutors. She was never questioned about Del Tondo, end quote. Now, and his title of his article was basically, he was alluding to the fact that y'all want a mistrial, but it's your fault. He was basically saying the defense didn't do their job and there should be no mistrial because basically you didn't ask this juror anything. Now, I was waiting so patiently to get the wording of this motion, and facts of this motion. But I know what I know. I was in that courtroom. And I've already said it once. I've already said it probably 10 times. I don't know how the Beaver County is reporting the way they are. If he can see 20/20 with his glasses, and I can see 20/20 with my contacts, how both of us could possibly have two completely different narratives. And also if you've been, investigating this for 3 years. And when I say investigating it hard for 6 months, I mean, it doesn't mean I didn't do anything prior to 6 months. But at the end of the day, this is what he said. And now we're going to see what this motion says. And remind yourselves this. The town's all talking mistrial, mistrial, mistrial. And then here John Paul wants to come up with this and put this in an article. And then everybody's like, oh, okay, so then everybody like backed off that whole like mistrial, mistrial, mistrial. Now, like I said, this motion is about 30 pages. I told you guys it'd be beefy. Let me go ahead and say hello to everybody. Aunt Lala, in my prayers, thanks for being here. Again, this is a 704B is the, in like Colorado, like the 35C. 704B, brief in support of oral post-trial motion for extraordinary relief. And now comes the defendant, Mr. Sheldon Jeter, by and through his attorneys, files this brief in support of oral post-trial motion for extraordinary relief, who respectfully requests this honorable court grant the relief requested, and in support thereof states the following. Now here are the following. The first thing is juror misconduct. Number 1, on June 23rd, 2021, Mr. Jeter was found guilty of criminal homicide and is scheduled to sentence July 21st. Number 2, under extraordinary circumstances, when the interests of justice require, the trial judge may, before sentencing, hear an oral motion, an arrest of judgment for a judgment of acquittal or for a new trial. When an event prejudicial to the defendant occurs during trial, only the defendant may move for a mistrial. The motion shall be made when the event is disclosed. Otherwise, the trial judge may declare a mistrial only for reasons of manifest necessity. Probably like 30 minutes. What do you think about that?
Lower. How about 1 minute?
1 minute? I don't know if I could talk that fast.
Talk that fast. Hey, you're not talking that fast.
So here we go. I'm gonna go through things that are like, me also, mama. Subsequent to the verdict being read in the instant matter, it has come to the attention of the undersigned counsel for Mr. Jeter that juror number 3 discussed the case with her father during the trial, during deliberations, and prayed about it, and prayed about the outcome of the trial and the verdict that she should render with her father prior to her delivering her verdict. Her behavior constitutes juror misconduct and directly violates the clear instructions that the court gave to the jurors. I sat in there for that. It was like an hour of Judge Tesla literally reading from typed up notes that they have to read to everybody, and it your instructions. You can't talk to anybody about this. Remember, the jurors were not sequestered. They got to leave. It is important to know that Mr. Jeter had a constitutional right to have such an impartial jury. It is fundamentally It is fundamental that a litigant is entitled to a fair trial and that this includes the right to be tried by an impartial jury. And this is when they're just like citing different cases. Now, we're going to get to the part where Mr. Beaver here. That's my son doing crazy crap. What are you making over there? Mr. Jeter had a right during the jury selection that every person who would potentially deliberate or contribute to rendering a verdict in this case, in this instant case, juror number 3 spoke with her father without Mr. Jeter's knowledge and without Mr. Jeter having the opportunity to then, in a sense, question him. Okay? You have to cite and reference things with motions to show precedent that this is how something's supposed to be handled. You can't do this, you can't do this, but you have to cite things. Jeter's attorneys did a phenomenal job on the wording of all of this. It's very good. You could tell a lot of time went into it, as it should. I mean, this is someone's life. Like I told you, all the fuckerage that was going on in the courtroom. Number 8, juror number 3's behavior in this matter puts whether Mr. Jeter had a fair and impartial jury in question. Furthermore, juror number 3's father, who only heard about the case through juror number 3's lenses, essentially has become a 13th juror and an outside influence on this case at hand. The insinuation of outside influence, this is number 9. This is just about case law. I will say this though. The Honorable Court gave clear jury instructions in the instant case, and it stated you can't even discuss this case with members of your family, close friends, court personnel, or other members of the jury. You should not have even casual conversation with accused or counsel. So it just goes on and says, no, like, don't look at anything, don't read the media, all this stuff. Again, these were all the instructions that the judge read to everybody. Number 11. Additionally, juror number 3, against clear instructions of this Honorable Court, was witnessed speaking and laughing with other jurors during sidebars, directly violating court instructions. This act alone can be ruled jury taint, forcing a mistrial. Again, case law. Specifically, this is number 12. Remember, I was telling you guys all the fuckerage that was going on. Specifically, juror number 3 was witnessed repeatedly speaking during sidebars, etc., and laughing with juror number 4. Juror number 4 was later assigned the 4 person. Once again, directly a violation of the court's instructions. Again, they're going to cite some case law there. Number 14. Here, the juror number 3 is showing a pattern of disregarding the court's instructions and simply choosing...
Mommy.
Yes, baby.
It says yellow and green mix.
Yellow and green mixed together?
Yeah.
Yellow and green. What is yellow and green mixed together? Isn't it blue? Is it blue? I think it's blue.
Okay.
What does it look like? Let me see it. Did you mix them?
No, not yet. I'm good.
Yes!
I mean...
Blue!
I mean... Yellow.
The pen is
I mean...
royal blue!
I mean, what is yellow and green make?
Yeah, yellow and green makes blue.
Okay.
The pen is royal blue. It's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. I can't lie. I'm kicking my own ass.
I'm giving my...
Blue and yellow make green. Blue and yellow, but yellow and green, right?
Yeah.
Yellow and green make blue. What do you have right now?
Nothing right now.
Okay. It's green.
So green right now.
Wait, what colors do you have over there, Jax? He's got like 7 colors. Oh my gosh, I lied.
So green doesn't make blue?
Baby, what colors do you have?
I have green and yellow.
Okay, where was I at? Okay. Number 15. Juror number 3 intentionally revealed that she was a juror on the Commonwealth for Shell Jeter trial and spoke about the case to her family. Couple was speaking to other jurors during sidebars. This goes on, showing repeat disobedience relating to jury service rules. Let's get to concealed bias. So the first one was, there's like 30 different. Yeah, juror misconduct would be your number 1. Number 2, then it goes to concealed bias during jury selection. Number 16. Now this is where Jean-Paul. Let's compare what he said to this. Y'all gonna have this baby mixed up? No. Oh my God, we're still talking about the
Mommy.
Here we are. Subsequent to the verdict being read in the instant matter, it came to the attention of the undersigned counsel for Mr. Jeter that juror number 3 is the next door neighbor.
Mommy.
Yes, AB.
Please go in my room and sleep with me.
Okay, I'll cuddle you again. They can take a break and talk amongst themselves about colors for a second.
Oh, you're
I'll be right back.
staying in my bed.
Jean-Claude Pandambage.
Oh, Mommy, you're staying in my bedroom.
Okay, I'll stay in there.
For the whole night.
For the whole entire life, my whole entire life. I'm just gonna stay in your room. Come on.
How are you going to stay in there forever?
Forever. Remember me.
How? How?
You're gonna have to drive my car everywhere. You better be ready. Hurry up. Royal blue. Look at that. Night, I think he said. Everyone's going to bed. For her whole life, she's going to sleep in his room. Oh, you guys are funny. Okay. So this is where it gets to the, you know, everything that transpired that was pretty much a part of here. Concealed bias during, so she never said that she was the next door neighbor of Rachel Altondo, so, but I want you guys to hear the wording. It came to the attention of the undersigned counsel for Mr. Jeter that juror number 3 is the next door neighbor of Rachel Altondo's family, both at the time of Miss Altondo's 2018 murder and likely at the time of Mr. Jeter's trial. Miss Altondo, this is number 17. Miss Altondo was reportedly shot and killed outside of her family home in Alicopa Beaver County, Pennsylvania, next door to the home where juror number 3 resides. Mr. Jeter had been Mr. Jeter had been identified as a person of interest in Miss Altondo's murder in both national and local media outlets, including a nationally aired program, CBS's 48-hour episode, What Happened to Rachel Altondo, May 18, 2019. During general questions, so remember I had that episode where I was showing you guys what questions that they're going to ask. It's like, I don't remember how many, was it 10 or 15? During those questions, this honorable court asked potential jurors to identify themselves if they have heard any information regarding the Commonwealth's allegations against Mr. Jeter in the instant case from any multiple media source. They asked about this case. Again, they note the trial, volume 1, on June 7th. While this honorable court only asked whether potential jurors had read or heard anything about the instant allegations, Mr. Jeter's alleged involvement with Miss Altondo's case was repeatedly in news media concerning the instant case, meaning 100 articles that were written, 100 articles, always referenced Rachel Altondo's death with anytime that Sheldon was being, anything had to do with, it never not mentioned Rachel Altondo's 2018 murder. John Paul, you did that. So if you are saying that you've never read any of those articles, great. If you were asked if you've seen any of those articles, it would have already mentioned the Altondo because it was always in those articles. Number 21. Such was verified by several potential jurors during individual questions. So like they then reference that people were excusing themselves. Juror number 3 was present at the morning session when this honorable court asked potential jurors to identify themselves if they had read or heard about the Commonwealth's allegations against Mr. Jeter in the instant case. Juror number 3 did not identify herself to this honorable court at that time. During her individual question, juror number 3, the following conversation occurred. The court. So, you haven't heard anything about this case from third parties, radio, TV, or form of multimedia. Perceptive juror. I don't believe so. Similar, juror number 3 answered in the negative on her juror qualification questionnaire as to both. So she said no. Remember I said, I can't wait to see what she checked. So she answered negative to her juror qualification questionnaire as to, in both regards to question 4 and 5. Here they are. Have you or anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime? She said no. John Paul has the transcripts, mind you. John Paul has these transcripts. Does he reference in his article ever once that this juror answered negative to question 4 and 5? And the answer is no, he does not. Again, this is a narrative, his narrative. For his 48-hour next episode 2. Question 5. Have you or anyone close to you ever been an eyewitness to a crime, whether or not it ever came to court? No. Now, had juror number 3 informed this honorable court and counsel for the parties in the instant matter of her potential knowledge of Miss Del Tondo's murder, as well as her close proximity to the Del Tondo home at the time of the alleged Del Tondo killing, juror number 3 would have been stricken for cause, as she would have been presumed to have a possible prejudice or subconscious bias against the defendant as a result of her answers. Now, they put their little, footers. Here, footer 4. Upon information and belief, after Miss Del Tondo was killed, juror number 3 wrote a post on social media regarding the incident shortly thereafter. The social media post has been since taken down. Juror number 3 would have been stricken as juror as several potential jurors were stricken for cause where it was disclosed during their individual questionnaires that they had knowledge from media or other sources as to Mr. Jeter's rumored involvement in Miss Del Tondo's case. And then they list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They list 5 jurors that basically had to say, yeah, I heard about it. This one juror says, specifically, prospective juror number JN7P-32 indicated that she had read and watched news pieces about Mrs. Del Tondo, or Miss Del Tondo's murder, and found it particularly interesting because the Del Tondo family resided approximately 15 minutes from her home. And she was, bye-bye. 15 minutes from her home. It gets better. It gets better. Now, what the, basically, because what Mr. Beeve didn't tell us is obviously stuff that I'm saying, but they're getting to this part here where his team is arguing here, even if this honorable court had not stricken juror number 3 for cause, had juror number 3 disclosed the location of her residence, which if the person lived 15 minutes away was, the undersigned counsel would have utilized one of their strikes. They had all 3 available to still use. And that's what their peremptory strikes, that's what they're talking about here, is that we still had those and we had access to all of them. So we would have strucken her. Number 35. As the Del Tondo family's next door neighbor, juror number 3 was likely not only aware of Miss Del Tondo's murder, but maybe would have spoken to law enforcement officers as a result of the proximity of her residence to the crime scene. Additional members of her family were also likely questioned by the police. Juror number 3, again, this is number 36, juror number 3 not being open and forthcoming to the court regarding information that could potentially eliminate her from being on the jury shows that she had a tendency to withhold relevant information when she thought it may negatively impact her being on this jury. For example, juror number 3 was asked if she had any personal or professional relationships with the defendant, potential witnesses, or attorneys for either party in this case. However, she neglected to volunteer that she had been married by the Honorable Judge Kim Tesla, who was presiding over. Is that in here? No. Them's the facts. Them's the facts. Again, for example, juror number 3 was asked if she had any personal or professional relationships with the defendant, potential witnesses, or attorneys for either party in this case. However, she neglected to volunteer that she had been married by the judge. Awesome. Again, they're referencing case law. Now, please see exhibit number 3 of the houses situated on Buchanan Street, directly next door to each other. Please see exhibit 2. It's a sworn affidavit. Upon information and belief, the then fiance and now estranged husband of juror number 3 saw the body of Miss Del Tondo on the ground shortly after Miss Del Tondo had been shot multiple times. Please see exhibit number 4 of jury number 3 and her estranged husband with Judge Tesla on their wedding day. That's our pick. Please see exhibit 4 of juror number 3 and her estranged husband with Judge Tesla on their wedding day. Okay, so then they're going to say that here in Commonwealth versus Rosario, the Pennsylvania Superior Court, the opinion that there were incorrect answers to clear questions misled counsel. Looks like so they are using, like I said, case law to show precedent of what has happened before, and why certain things should then happen here. The undersigned counsel argues that a mistrial is needed to cure the issue at hand. Alternatively, if the court should decide not to grant a mistrial, an evidentiary hearing would determine juror number 3's motivation behind her responses. Specifically, whether juror number 3's proper response would have revealed, prejudices against Mr. Jeter that would have resulted in her being, stricken for cause or removal through his challenges. Juror number 3's testimony at the evidentiary hearing would not be in violation of the Commonwealth's no impeachment rule, as said juror would only be asked to testify regarding to whether juror number 3 should have been part of the jury deliberations in the instant matter, not what occurred during deliberations. Referencing case law. Now, I'm going to turn the camera so you guys can see something. Under extraordinary circumstances, when the interest of justice requires, the trial judge may grant a mistrial. Mr. Sheldon Jeter Jr. should be granted a mistrial. Number 1, juror number 3 deliberately disobeyed the court's jury instructions when she intentionally communicated with her father about the instant case during the trial, jury deliberations, and prayed with her father about the verdict prior to her rendering a verdict. She was praying for what the verdict should be. Her father became an unconstitutional 13th juror who had not been subject to being questioned and was basically an outside influence on the case at hand. There's a lot in here. So one of the affidavits comes from a woman that I actually reached out to. She's in here, and she did give me like a sentence. She said, my affidavit speaks for itself, and my notes, which are all here. She had written notes. I need to get her on my team. She had written notes, and she did this affidavit, and she said, my affidavit and written notes speak for itself. Everyone deserves a fair trial. Remember I told you all the fuckerage that was going on? I want to give you guys a reference here, though. Number 12. Remember, this all goes into my narrative stuff. Number 12. I mean, there's a lot of things in here. Remember, you can't be, when you're sitting there in the courtroom, you can't, like, you're not talking to people. You're not having conversations. I mean, there was more sidebars than, it was just crazy. But here, number 12, the two women spectators were speaking so loudly that the reporter, John Paul, had to tell them to stop talking in front of the jurors. Specifically, I remember John Paul reprimanding the two female spectators. He informed them that they were not allowed to be discussing the jurors and the case in this manner, and that their behavior, quote unquote, could get them in big trouble and could, quote unquote, cause a mistrial. Wait, so John Paul believes that those two people that are not even on the jury and their behavior could get them in big trouble and could cause a mistrial. But a jury member lying isn't grounds for a mistrial? I mean, I just can't take this. So now it's very clear to me. John Paul has not wrote an article, I believe, since June 29th. And flat out, he shouldn't be. This is... Again, there's 3 affidavits in here. I believe 3 or 4. I'm going to turn this around, though, guys. I want you to see something. Here you go. There it is. It's an exhibit. Exhibit. There you go. And that, my friends, that was on my YouTube channel. That was the picture that is in an exhibit in this motion, started all this motion. And I want to know who out there said that it was a fake picture because of a chair coming out of someone's ear. Because that's who I don't want on my team. Okay. Dun dun dun, exhibit. Dun dun dun, exhibit. But guess what, guys? That is fake news. And that is exhibit 4. 4. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. So, I'm sorry, I have not been looking at anything in chat, love. Yeah. But I will answer questions right now because I'm going to wrap things up. But this, without a doubt, is deserving, I mean, obviously of an evidentiary hearing, but I don't know what John Paul is doing other than controlling a narrative. And once again, hashtag, there's a new beaver in town, because those days are over. You can't throw, no. I don't think throwing, and that's not how this happens. You guys, it's either going to be that they go, so here, then hear me out on this. So the DA said that once they would have received this motion, that his office would have comment. Well, he received the motion, and his comment today was, I haven't even looked at it. We're planning on proceeding with sentencing. I haven't even looked at it. But let's see. Sounds good, buddy. Mr. Beaver should be jobless, in my opinion. Well, Mr. Beaver runs his own thing, so he employs himself. Just like I employ myself. Alternate will not be thrown in here. It's either going to be, like I said, it's either going to be an evidentiary hearing granted, or the judge can just completely do the right thing, which is grant a mistrial. So they think he killed Rachel as well. Yeah, that's John Paul's narrative, is that Sheldon Jeter Jr. is a cold-blooded killer. That's his narrative. 100 articles worth of Sheldon Jeter Jr. being a cold-blooded killer. Them's the facts. Them's the facts. Them's aren't the facts. The facts are right here. And you had the transcript, and you selectively put in what you wanted to, I mean, think about this. Think about if this doesn't happen and nobody sees this because there's no motion, and everybody just goes off of what the Beaver County wrote about, oh, that should have just been asked and they didn't do that, so therefore, oh, their fault. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. He charges to read his BS. Yeah, it's $10. Fight for a Family, $10 a month. Or you can be a member of the Beaver County, and I think they charge $10 a month. Again, I would just love to know the motive behind writing like, you're not reporting on, you're selective. And I mean, how do you even, I mean, this is just crazy. This is crazy. So, I mean, he hasn't written since June 20th and 29th. It's July 20th. I think I know why. I'm going to go join Lana. Thank you. Woo. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in here, guys. Like I said, it's 30 pages. 30 pages, and I just want to have a little bit of a voice for tomorrow. Why hasn't he written? Because there's a new beaver in town, Lala. I'm gonna keep getting scoop, 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 wrong, narrative. I mean, I almost feel like we're, me and John Paul are running for president here, and we got two different campaigns that are just like, just seeing the same thing, watching the same thing, but how are you And you know what's sad though, is KDKA says that they have the transcripts. Well, then why didn't you talk about the truth then? I mean, what the F? Like I said, I hashtagged Nicole Ford out there. You can meet up at Hank's, Miss Ford, and we'll grab double scoops of ice cream. And we'll really get the scoop. So my belief is that Sheldon Jeter Jr. has been tried throughout the media. 100 articles out of his mouth. That's what he said. 100 articles. Why isn't he writing about Vincent Barbuto unsolved murder? I mean, a year has gone by and nobody has been arrested for that murder. Don't you think Vincent Barbuto deserves justice? Because I do. I think he deserves justice. I think that family deserves justice. Why hasn't John Paul wrote any articles about that? Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, KDKA also, and it's in here. The juror was married. Oopsies. Was married to, like a cousin of Sheldon's. The family knew and thought they recognized Mary in the courtroom. And actually one of the affidavits in here, that's who my exclusive interview is with. And it's been planned for a while. It's just, I want to do things at the right time. But I mean, I don't know. But yeah, the juror's husband, who they're going through a divorce. He's an estranged husband. They're getting divorced. He's the cousin of Sheldon. And, I mean, I don't know. I heard it's not a very amicable split either. It's... Be kind and chat, love. You're doing great things, Lana. Keep up the determination. You have a good heart, lady. I do, I do. My Italian family raised me right. My Irish family did the same too. Tesla knows what the motion is about 100%. Yeah. Yes, and every article had Rachel mentioned 100% yes. Now I want ice cream. It's also messy. Honestly, it's really not that messy. It's just people doing shit that they shouldn't, and they should be held accountable. And then all you do is you do the right thing. So this is what happened, and now the judge just has to do the right thing. The judge knows the right thing. He just has to do it. So that's why the title of this is Mr. Tesla, Honorable Judge. I mean, you have a chance to right or wrong. And whether or not Sheldon is guilty or innocent doesn't matter. The question at hand is did he receive a fair trial? And the answer is no. Period. You throw it out. It's a mistrial. And you can retry him, and you move it out of Beaver. Period. Yep, that's tomorrow morning. So you guys will definitely be knowing what's going on. I got a little surprise for you too tomorrow morning. Yeah. Yeah, Chris, I mean, you would think that's pretty easy for people to do the right thing. The problem is that the corruption in Beaver County I mean, you know that Judge Kim Tesla was on, he was prosecuting Jamie Brown back 20 years ago. Full circle over there. Cheers. You're welcome, Jackie. Thank you. But guys, I mean, whew, all those trips to Alcoa paid off here. You know, we could have heard the words guilty, packed it up, left, and just cried about it or something like that. But I like to think that my athletic background helps with adversity. Nothing's ever going to be easy, and stuff that are easy in life, they're usually not worth it anyways, so nothing to write home about. Free Jamie Brown. Yes. I think at least KDK has like a better headline. KDK investigates juror in Sheldon Jeter homicide trial was Rachel Deltondo's neighbor. Jeter's attorney is reviewing transcripts of the questioning of the juror and will then decide on whether to petition for a mistrial. I mean, there's no deciding there. That was definitely happening. Aunt Lala, thank you for it. Thank you for it. Yeah, first time I saw KDA segment for Sheldon was last night. They had some stuff before, but I don't know. I don't know if they didn't think that my picture was real, and they were like, well, I'm not going to write about it, or they didn't want to give me credit, but they waited until it was in a document like this, like in a motion, and then KDKA credited, they said photo credit court filings. Now beats me, but that's fine. It's all right, Andy Sheen. We'll let that one slide. I mean, you would think that someone who's wrote 100 articles wouldn't go 20 some days in between writing another article about this. But anyways, Bieber is bias. Hopefully we can change that. Seriously though, Lana, how long after the verdict? I did it the same day, I believe. I can't remember. It was actually like, I think I did it on, I think did the verdict come on Tuesday? And then I revealed it on Wednesday morning. I mean, I had it. And then I just, yeah. Craziness. But so, while John Paul is writing articles about who's sitting next to the family at trial, if I wouldn't have been in that trial, if I wouldn't have been in that courtroom, this would have never been caught. So, and them's the facts. So, 9 o'clock's gonna come early. You guys are great. That's the update. Crystal Q said, I think it was just a couple hours. I think so too, but you know, the conspiracy theorists, yep. It's not a conspiracy when it's not a theory either when it's true. Them's the facts. Them's the facts. Modbods, love you guys. Again, just keep knocking down doors. Keep doing it the right way. Love all the people in Alicopa. Like I said, there's a lot of support out there. And it's, you know, support from the white communities, support from the black community. They want the corruption in Beaver to stop. People want this to stop. And I'm really proud of the people that, you know, came forward and filled out an affidavit. I think that that's the start of it. That takes a lot of strength and courage, and I think that those people should be commended for that. And it definitely shouldn't be looked at as like a rat or something like that. I mean, you're just telling the truth. And kudos to Jeter's defense team. Very well written motion, and if the judge does anything other than evidentiary hearing or mistrial, that's a flat-out joke. And I'll make sure it makes national news. I will do everything I can for it to make national news. But this stuff needs to stop. And the media can really help if do your own media, do your own investigating. If you guys want some scoops, I'll be happy to help. If you guys want truthful information, unbiased, I can help. So that's what I got for you guys, though. You guys are great. I love y'all. Yeah, like this, subscribe, share it. Join Fight for a Family. I know people think that this is like just a YouTube channel. This is not what that is. This is to bring awareness to the cases and to the families that I'm helping. But it's all made possible because of all of you guys. So can I ask something completely unrelated? Probably not. It's probably not the time. Miss Dizzle. You can email Truth and Transparency 3. No, I'm no disrespect. I'm just saying, just if you're saying it has nothing to do with it, I was just curious. My DMs are full. What is it, Heather? It's fine. Okay, well, I'm just saying you could email me. Miss Heather, what is it? I'm in C-Bus. Okay. I'm not, but go C-Bus. DM overload. I was just gonna comment on your hoodie. You like that Homage brand? It's the most comfortable brand ever. Your DMs are locked TF down. Yeah, they are. Well, ring your bell. I love the Clippers. I have a shirt that says ring my bell. I love it. Well, I guess you guys can get back to your drama channels for the evening. Be kind and chat, love. Heather. Who's that? Blah. All my UK peeps, love ya. If you guys are watching from the UK, it's late. All right, guys. Calling it a night. Take care. Bye-bye. Luna. It's a Luna eclipse.